Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Tyson, how's it going?
Doing well. Welcome back to the tournament, right?
The Turning Point. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is exciting.
Yes, and we already have a few people in the chat already saying hello.
I
Craig.
love it. Hello, Craig. Hello, Michael. Welcome back. Or
Hello,
if it's your first time, but I'm pretty sure I've seen those names before. So welcome.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Craig here before. But now we're going to do a little poll right at the beginning.
All right.
But first, welcome. And if you guys have been here before, put a number 1. And if you guys have come back and you came back for another episode, thank you for coming back. And put a number 2. And we can kind of put them all on the screen. And for the new people, we can welcome them back.
Exactly.
So, the turning point. Tonight could be the turning point for you. And if you don't know what the turning point is, this is a Q&A show. And how you might interact on this show is, we're getting some twos.
Yay.
How you might interact with this show is that you post a comment into the comment box, and then we'll bring it up on the screen for Doug to answer. So that's option 1. And then option 2 is right around when Doug says he's going to be taking questions. I'm going to be dropping a link into the comment box, and you're going to be able to click on it and come onto the show live. Now, you can do this anonymously. You can come backstage and ask Aaron right here a question anonymously, or you can come onto the hot seat and come on to Doug and get some one-on-one coaching right here on the Turning Point.
Right here, right now. I love it.
Yes. All the episodes, Jennifer, we are, yes, part of our team here.
Woo! Thank you for being a loyal fan. That's amazing.
Yes. So, now I see from the last part of that last episodes, there might be some questions around sharing the episodes, especially if you're on YouTube.
Yes.
So every show, Doug does a little giveaway, and he announces that a little bit later. So, but how you might go away winning that is if you're on YouTube, you can share this to your Facebook, but using the hashtag AskDougDane. And this is how we track this. This is how you get entered into the draw. And then if you're on Facebook, all you have to do is just share it to your feed or share it to a person using hashtag AskDougDane. But make sure it's public so we can see this.
Absolutely. It's amazing to click on the hashtag and just see the people because it's public. It's cool. So you can see everything. And there's a lot of great followers. And I shouldn't say followers. I don't know what the right word is because we're a group. We're a community. So
yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Cool. So for the new people, I'm going to introduce who Doug is.
Mm-hmm.
So Doug's life started with abuse and it's turned into abundance. And now he's on a mission with this show to show others how they can do the same. We've created this show to reach a lot of people and get them unstuck fast. Doug discovered that the turning point can happen very fast, and it's actually quite simple. Doug spent years trying to figure out how to get ahead. And it was really hard and it took him a long time. It doesn't have to be that way for you tonight. Tonight, there's a better way. This could be your turning point, and welcome. So let's bring him on. Doug?
Hello.
Betty?
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
Excellent. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm friggin' fired up, lady.
Yeah, there's no negative talk going on? All positive?
Hey, listen, don't blow the show.
Well, they've seen the title. I'm excited too.
Mm-hmm. That was a good transition, Aaron. I like that. Well, yeah, I'm really interested.
Who the hell's running the show here anyway? Aaron or is it me?
No, I'm just, I get ahead of myself. I'm excited to learn. This is a good topic, a really good topic.
Yeah, good.
I have lots of excuses for why I use my negative self-talk. That's how I know it's a good topic. Because
this might just play into, this might be your show tonight then. I didn't come up with the title for tonight. I just put up a post saying, you talk too much and you probably don't know what the hell you're talking about. So anyway, I want to thank the two of you for doing this. You guys always do such a great job. You got great energy and attitude. I think I get more comments about the two of you than I get about the show. Everybody loves Tyson and Aaron. Who wouldn't, right? All right. Well, let's start. As Tyson mentioned, share the show. So hashtag AskDougDane. Do that. Share for us right now if you can. We have a little sharing contest, and we'll talk about that. Well, we'll talk about it now, I guess. We do is the way we track, as Tyson mentioned, we search my Facebook page and search Facebook for the hashtag AskDougDane. In fact, I was doing that while Tyson was explaining it. And then what I do is every week I do a little draw, and I pick somebody to win a free one-on-one coaching session with me. And so I want to thank everybody that shared it last week and share it right now. And you just, like I said, we get such great feedback from people that watch this. And I think the feedback's not for me. I think the feedback is thanking you for sharing, because there might be one thing I say tonight that would cause a turning point. I got a beautiful message from somebody earlier on WhatsApp, and she was on a call with me. Oh, I don't know, a couple weekends ago, before the Easter weekend, the weekend before, I did a 3-day event with Bob, and she was on that call. And then said, "Can we talk afterwards?" And it was a Saturday night, and we had a chat. It was around dinner time, I guess. And she, she was kind of in an interesting situation and challenge with her daughter's father, and there was some difficult things going on. Anyway, I just I've got and I don't say this from an ego perspective, but I do have a gift to get to what's going on pretty quickly, and then shift your perception very quickly, which then shifts everything. And you're like, I got this beautiful message. She was just thanking me for the conversation we had. It wasn't a very long conversation, maybe 20 minutes. And she said it was a real shift for her, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for the money. I don't get paid to do this. I don't charge you to be here. I do it for the psychic income, for helping people. And anyway, share the show. You just never know who you will be helping tonight by sharing it. So hashtag AskDougNate. Hit the share button right now, and then we will put your name in a little draw, and you can win a free one-on-one session with me, a breakthrough session with me. We'll talk about your goals and where you're at, or what you want to do and why you're not doing it. And so last week, Priya Perso won that. So I don't know if Priya's watching tonight. If you're here, Priya, say hello. But if you're not, we'll send you a message and let you know. So all right, well, let's just dive in, shall we? So I said, you probably talk too much. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I got really fired up this week. A lot of my motivation for what I talk about comes from my experiences. Whether I'm having an experience where I'm talking to people about what they're going through or what I'm going through. And so I was going through something pretty challenging these past couple of weeks. Well, it wasn't really actually challenging at all. I made it challenging. I made it way more difficult than I needed to make it. And so a lot of my source of motivation comes from my own breakthroughs and my own ahas, or I'll talk to somebody and help them with a breakthrough. Do you ever wonder why so few people are successful and so many people are struggling? Do you ever wonder that? You ever stop to think, I wonder why so few people do so well, and then so many other people are struggling? And what I discovered is so many people are poor and so many people are weak. And that's why they're not doing very well. And what I mean by that is they have a weakness of attention, and they have a poverty of imagination. They're weak in attention and they're poor in imagination. And so you got to pay attention to where your attention is going, or what you're giving attention to. And so you got to start paying attention. And you have no excuses, none. If I don't have excuses, you don't have any excuses. Look, I started in a really lousy situation. I started in a very poor, broken home filled with violence and abuse and just all kinds of junk. And then I moved on to a ring of pedophiles, and I spent 2 years there being sexually abused, which ended in my kidnapping. Then I spent from 15 through 23 drunk and stoned. Then I moved to bankruptcy, and then I moved to failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, health problems, like you name it, jail, a lot of trouble. And I figure if I can do it, you can do it. And so there's no excuses. Now you can make up excuses if you want, and you can come up with all kinds of great alibis to cover up why you're not doing as well as you'd be doing. But I want I really want to get your attention tonight with a couple of things, because this was a big aha for me. It's nothing new. I didn't learn something new this week, but it was a really big reminder. So I want you to think about what you think about. Most people are literally running on autopilot. You're self-suggesting things about yourself, about others, and things aren't even true. Now, what I mean by self-suggestion, so you might call it self-talk or whatever. In Think and Grow Rich, which is a book I studied a lot, and Bob Proctor, who mentors me, this was the basis that got him to be teaching what he's been teaching, changing lives all around the world. And I get to help with that now, working with him. For 60 years, he's been doing that. And in the book, there's 13 principles. One of them is called auto-suggestion. And he said auto-suggestion, like this is the keystone to the arch of the entire philosophy inside Think and Grow Rich. In other words, like this is the magic pill. And Napoleon Hill, the author, called it self-suggestion. And through repetition of affirming things through self-suggestion, it becomes auto-suggestion. And so you are auto-suggesting a lot of junk. You're auto-suggesting a lot of bullshit. You're auto-suggesting a lot of negative things. And you're auto-suggesting your way right into what it is that you don't want. Everything you're doing is a result of what you're auto-suggesting or what you're self-suggesting. Where you're at, how much money you're earning, how you feel, everything is a result of what's going on inside of you and what you're suggesting. And you're so busy self-sabotaging yourself because you form the habit of doing this, of thinking and talking about what you don't want, why you can't do what you want, and everything that's wrong with you and the rest of the world. And I mean, I just wrote down, think of some of the things, and these were just things that came to my mind, but I want you to think about some of the things that you suggest to yourself. If I hung around with you for a week and I put a meter on your head and I recorded what you were thinking about, I'll guarantee you're spending way more time self-suggesting and thinking about shit that's negative and why you can't do something versus then giving your attention to ways you can do what it is that you want. And so I was thinking, like, and this what prompted the show, I was talking to somebody about something and they go, I can't afford it. I go, man, I wonder how many people say I can't afford it. People said, they also say, let me think about it. In other words, they don't really mean let me think about it. Let me procrastinate because I'm afraid to make a freaking decision. So let me just put that off, and people do that. Let me think about it. I agree with what you're saying, Doug, but what you're saying makes sense to me, but I think that's a really great idea, but. And so you got to dump that freaking B word, but, because you go, yes, but. Yes, but you may as well just take a freaking wall and throw it up in front of you. And so people do that a lot. I can't, they won't, I don't know how, I don't have time, it won't work. Type in the chat, what's something you self-suggest a lot? Here's what I self-suggested a lot for a long, long time. What the hell's wrong with me? What the hell's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing that? Why do I keep making the same mistake over and over? What the hell's wrong with me? What's going to happen if? Why do I feel like this? And on and on and on and on it goes. So you got to start paying attention to what it is you're giving your attention to. And so I remember I was sitting in my counselor's office, and Tyson just put a comment. Nobody commented. Are you guys are afraid to admit what you're self-suggesting? Don't worry about it. Don't be shy here. You're amongst friends here. The truth shall make you free. I learned that. The more I tell the truth about what's going through my mind, how I'm feeling, negative, positive, the more I tell my story, the freer I become, because the less concerned I care about what you think. And so it's a good idea to put yourself out there in the chat and throw yourself under the bus and watch. The bus won't actually even run you over. It'll go around you, and you'll get back up, and you'll feel good. So anyway, I'm in counseling. I did a lot of counseling and therapy. It started it did start. I shouldn't say probably. It started in 1994. My first marriage ended. Well, I ended it, and I moved out west to get the hell away. And the company had benefits where they paid for counseling, so I went in for counseling. Now, the story I told you earlier, that none of that had come out yet. That didn't come out until 2001, 15 years later. Anyway, I did a lot of counseling and therapy. Anyway, the very last counseling session that I ever had was a few years back. And in that counseling session, he said, Doug, you're a pretty bright guy. I don't know what the hell you're doing here. And well, John, ba-da-da-da-da-da. He goes, I got a strategy that I think I'd like to leave you with. And I think, you probably won't have to come back. He goes, somebody taught it to me, one of my mentors taught it to me. And it really is quite remarkable. And so I'm leaning in, like this sounds like just what I need. I lean in, John leans in. I go, what is it? Well, Doug, it's called thought stopping. I go, thought stopping? He goes, yeah, thought stopping. It's really effective. I go, well, what do you mean? What is that? How does it work? He goes, you stop thinking about it. I go, what do you mean? He goes, stop thinking about it. Stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it. Stop it. A few years later, I found a video on YouTube. I think we've mentioned the show before. Look it up on YouTube later. We'll post it for you too. And maybe we have before. It's Bob Newhart, who used to play a psychiatrist on television, the Bob Newhart Show. He was on Saturday Night Live, and he did a little skit where he's a psychiatrist, and it's called Stop It. Anyway, you might want to check it out. So, and that just struck me. I go, yeah, stop it. Just stop it. And so I learned to stop it. Now, you got to understand, when I say understand, I don't think you understand what I mean by understand. You need to understand that you become what you think about all day long. You become what you think about all day long. Now, many of you who are, who know me, or your clients or followers, or you've been following, Bob Proctor, anything like that, that's not a new statement to you. And you get it on an intellectual level. Like you understand it when I say, oh yeah, you become what you think about all day long, but you don't really understand it. Because if you really understood it, you wouldn't be thinking the way that you're thinking. Now, when I say that you don't really understand it, is you really have to understand this at a real emotional level. Right? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's your emotional mind is your subconscious mind. Most of us operate from our conscious mind through our intellect and through our five senses, and we're just basically reacting to what's going on around us and what's coming at us, our phones and texts and people say the news and newspapers and all that stuff. That's where most of us live from. We don't really get it at a subconscious level. We really, really don't. And if you really did understand it, then you wouldn't be doing what it is that you're doing. So I really got myself to I really understood it. I also discovered you don't really understand something until you can explain it to somebody else where they understand it. Like you need to be able to explain it to a 10-year-old where they understand it. Okay. Then you really believe it at a gut level. So let me give you an example. I was watching the movie 300 last night. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but I'd never seen it before. I never really had an interest to watch it, but for some reason I put it on last night. I was having dinner and I watched it. Man, oh man, it was powerful. If you were here last night, you would have been laughing at me because I got fired up by this movie. It's based on true events where Persia invades Sparta, Greece, and it's about the Spartan army. Gerard Butler is the main actor, and anyway, he's leading this army, 300 men against hundreds of thousands of Persian soldiers. anyway, the movie ends. I don't want to spoil it, but basically they go into battle with certain death, and they've been trained to fight to the death. Marines, what they would go through, they're so strong mentally. I was thinking about Secret Service agents. Like they take a bullet for the president, right? Like that's real belief. That's real belief when it's at a real emotional level. That's what you've got to get yourself to, is at a real emotional level. So I'm watching 300 last night, and I'm auto suggesting out loud, and I'm going. I started rifling off a bunch of things, and I'm talking like really out loud. I wondered if my daughter E did Herbie. She came down later, and I was telling her about it. And I was going, I will not succumb. I will not succumb. I will not succumb. And I'm rifling all this stuff off out loud, like boom, boom, boom. I got so fired up by the movie, but it really struck me that these men, were going into battle, and they were committed. They were committed. They had this deep-seated belief, and they operated that way. And so I think what you got to do is a couple things. You need to lighten up, and you need to toughen up. So when I say that you probably talk too much, you know what the hell you're talking about, is because you're doing too much self-talk. You talk way too much. I talk to people all the time, and what they want to do is they always have a story, right? They got a problem, and what they got to do is they got to tell the story. I was on a call the other day. I go, I don't need to hear the story. No. But can I just give you the story, give you context? I go, I don't need to you don't need to tell me the story. I already know what's going on. I said, let's just focus on what you want. Well, they wanted to tell me the story anyway. And I let them tell the story. I said, you talk too much. They go, what do you mean? I said, well, I told you not to tell the story, but you think you need to tell the story, but you don't. And so we talk too much to ourselves, and you don't really know what the hell you're talking about, because most of the things you're talking about aren't even true, or they're negative, or they're working against you. It's remarkable how we talk ourselves into trouble. So that's what happened to me with these past couple weeks. I got drawn into some stuff that was going on outside, and it started to bug me, and I was getting pissed off. I was getting stressed out. I wasn't sleeping, and I thought, what the hell am I doing to myself? Why the hell would I get emotionally involved in this and have it impact how I'm feeling? And I got pissed off. I go, enough is enough. And I had a conversation. I'm sitting in the bathtub, so I like to have a bath to think. So I'm sitting in the bathtub, and I'm having a conversation with myself. You've heard me say this before. And I go, Doug, enough is enough. What the hell do you think you're doing? Smarten up. Stop getting involved in all this crap and all this junk. You don't have to have anything to do with it all. Leave it go. Leave it alone. Let it go. Get the hell out of it. Pay attention to what. And I'm having this dialogue out loud to myself. I have conversations with myself all the time, and so I'm tough with myself. I expect myself to be stronger. I expect myself to be tougher. I expect myself to follow the rules and the laws and the things we talked about on a previous call. Life's a game. There's rules, and you better freaking play by them. And so I really make my mind up that I'm going to just really have these conversations. Now, people have formed the habit of being doubtful and defensive to explain away their own lack of achievement in spite of their desires. So another habit you form, some of you, is you've become so doubtful and you're defensive. Like you'll defend yourself, and I'm good. How you doing? I'm great. I'm happy the way I am, and you have all these things. You're doubtful and defensive to explain away where you're at, in spite that you want more. Like you want to earn more, you want to do more, you want to quit your job and start your life, you want to end your marriage and start your life. I mean, whatever, you want to make some change in your life. You're not liking the way things are going. You want to make changes, but you're doubtful and defensive. And you just learn to do that. So what you got to do is you need to take control of your mind. Okay. Right now, you're being controlled. You're being controlled. Okay. Your attention is being controlled. You're not in control of your attention. Your attention is being in control. And so you got to get control of your mind. And now, again, a lot of you know this. And when I say it's your mind that's in control of your results. Some of you don't know that, or you won't even agree with it. Well, you just don't understand it. You can disagree with me. It just means that you're wrong. Your mind is controlling everything that's happening in your life, along with your imagination. Very few people understand how powerful imagination is. So, as I mentioned earlier, you've got a weakness of attention. So you are not in control of your attention. It's called subjective control. You're not in control of your attention. Your attention is being attracted by what's going on around you. So things are happening. You look at your results. People say and do things. You watch television. You're on Facebook. You see posts and information and misinformation and propaganda and a narrative and all this attention is being attracted to the outside. Very few people have developed the skill or the strength of subjective control where your attention is on the inside. And that's what you have to master. Now, it's not hard to do. Anybody can do it. I learned to do it. I didn't know how to do it, but I learned how to do it. And so you have this gift. It's called your imagination. And very few people understand how it works. This was in the imagination of Steve Jobs. Now, this is quite simply, it's an iPhone. I mean, it's kind of a pretty standardized thing around the world these days, but nobody really stops to think what this thing is actually doing, what it's capable of, how it's changed the world and the way that we do things. Everything starts in your imagination. Everything that you ever do in your life is created from your imagination. And so if you don't understand how your imagination works and how it actually creates everything in your life, well, then you might want to make your mind up that you're going to figure that out. And so most of your attention is from without rather than from within. And that's why you do without and you don't do within. And that's why people struggle. They're without a lot of things because their attention is on the outside. So attention without is meaning your attention is being dictated by the outside, what's going on around you. Attention within is where you're in control of your imagination and what you're giving attention to. And so when you're yapping and talking and saying shit that ain't true and criticizing yourself and judging yourself and saying all the things you can't do and what's wrong with other people and judging and all the junk that we do and all the self-talk and all the self-suggestion, all that crap, you are giving your attention to that. And guess what your imagination does? It goes to work on that. Whatever you give your attention to, your imagination goes to work. And your imagination creates your physical world. Now, you might not get that. You might not agree with that, but it just means you don't understand that. Now, I understand it, but you may not understand it. And you really have to understand it at a deep emotional level. And it's believing. It's not saying, it's not agreeing with it. It's believing. It's knowing. You go, I know I can multiply my income with my imagination. I know I can create a business. I know, you just know. That's what you need to know. You need to know how to know. You got this amazing gift and you're wasting it. All of our greatest gifts were gifted to us for free. And so you've got this beautiful gift called your mind. And if you knew how your mind really worked, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. And so like in the past couple of weeks and this week, I caught myself. I was not using my mind properly. It's a machine and I was operating it. I was jamming it up and it was causing stress and tension on my physical body and my emotions to a point where I finally felt it. I go, what the hell am I doing wrong? And I just stopped and I went inside and I go, and then I was able to pinpoint. And then I had that conversation in the bathtub. So, you've been duped. You've been tricked. In my case, I was lied to. I was taught things that just aren't true. And for most of us, we've been doing it for so long, it's become a habit, and you've just accepted it. And like I said earlier, we've just become doubtful and defensive about what we're really truly capable of. If you really knew what I know about you, and you believed it, you'd be unstoppable. You are unstoppable, but you're stopping because of what you're thinking. So if you stop thinking what you're thinking, you'll stop being, or you will become rather, unstoppable. And I just try to get people, when I'm talking to you, if you're working with me, if I'm coaching, if you're a client, I'm just trying to get you to see what I already know and what I already see, because I can see it. You got it all covered up with a bunch of mental junk and experiences and events and guilt and regret and whatever other shit you got running through your head that's keeping you down from the way that you should be living. I was talking to a lady today on a call, and she said, I'm working with a brand expert, and they asked me to ask my clients 5 adjectives to describe me. And these adjectives came back, and I didn't see myself this way at all. She said, I really got to make some adjustments. And I figure if all those people see what they said they see to describe me, it must be true. And I need to accept that. And you need to accept what you're really capable of. And all you got to do is just pay attention to your desire. Pay attention to what you want. Don't pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. Just pay attention to what's on your heart. If you do that, you'll discover, who and what you really are. I just want to wake people up. And I also want to wake people up that you've been conditioned and programmed, and you got this mistaken identity. You're locked into a belief about yourself that's so far off track for a lot of people. Some people are just a little off track, just need a few little tweaks and a small turning point. Some need a huge turning point because they're so freaking off track. It's unbelievable. And I talk to you within 10, 15 minutes. I go, you're off track, buddy. Like, let's get you on track. And you can feel it. I know you can feel it because I could feel it. I knew there was more to me. I knew that I could be doing better. I knew I could be helping more, serving more, earning more, doing more. I knew it, but I wasn't doing it. And I didn't know why I wasn't doing it. So just stop thinking what you're thinking. So I want to just give you a few tips here before we take some questions. Or actually, no, let's take some questions first, Tyson, and I'll close with these. I got some suggestions, some things I'd like people to do. Yeah. What about you, Tyson? What have you been self-suggesting all this time?
Some of the things I've been thinking about it as this show's been going on. Some of the things is that I talk too much most of the time. I ramble with my words, and that causes me to overthink all the time. Like, when I finish a conversation, I say it all back in my head. And I'm like, did I say that correctly? Did I talk too much? So I say all that stuff in my head, but it detaches me from the conversation that I'm trying to have with the person, or even reality in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And I think me just spending a lot of time around you, I've brought a lot of the story and the narratives that I repeat to myself consciously, but also unconsciously, that you've pointed out.
Yeah.
And made them conscious. But so to go to the comments, something really cool I thought we could do to make a turning point for some people is take some of the beliefs that the people were saying, and we can talk about them. Want to do that?
That's good. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool. Awesome. So we'll start with Nancy.
That's why he runs the show. See, he's got good ideas.
Well, I just want to help so many people, and I really think I think I believe in this stuff too. So I want to hear what you say too. Okay. So I'm tired. I'm busy when I can't afford it, even if I can.
Well, yeah. So you have to understand why you're tired, and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Nancy, you're causing your tiredness. I was talking to my daughter Eden. And she's going through a challenging time. She's grade 12. She's in a what the hell's the school. It's IB, International Baccalaureate, however the hell you say it. Anyways, it's a bit of a pressure cooker, and she's saying how she's feeling and this and that. I go, well, you're causing it. No, I'm not, Dad. You know what the hell you're talking about. Don't tell me how I'm feeling. I said, I'm not telling you how you're feeling. I'm just telling you you're causing how you. Anyway, you have all kinds of time, Nancy. You're busy, but you have to understand the way you're operating, every one of you, all of us, the way you're operating, you just simply learned to operate that way. And very rarely do we ever stop to just think. So this idea of subjective control comes from this book, Power of Awareness. Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. So I have this book beside me on my desk, and I probably read that chapter today 7 times. It's only a page and a half. So what I learned to do is I learned to spend more time thinking and less time doing. And what I was able to do, I was able to get more done, a lot more done in a lot less time. Now, when that first happened, though, I was thinking, what the hell, like, what's wrong? Like, I started beating myself up because I didn't feel like I was productive because I wasn't working very hard. Got a pretty loose schedule. Like I would start at 10 and finish at 3. And I was having a hard time adjusting that I wasn't really working hard. And Bob, Proctor mentioned me, Doug, he said, you'll be amazed at how much free time you have. And so I had to adjust to that at first. That was really odd because I was a doer. I'm an executor. I get things done. I get a list. I get it done. Like, I'm very effective and very focused. So that'll happen too. But you just, the only way, Nancy, that I could, you have to consent. So number one, you have to accept the idea. So if you like what I'm saying, you have to accept the idea that I'm giving you right now. And then you have to consent to follow it. And that's a decision. If you do those two things, if you just accept the idea and consent. So Bob, for years, I've worked with him for 7 years. So when I say years, in the past 7 years, he kept saying, Doug, just let it go. I go, no, Bob, you don't understand. I just can't let it go. He goes, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. He just kept telling me, let it go. But I wouldn't accept the idea that that's all it was. All I had to do was let it go. And so what you've got to do is you've got to stop, take a break, drop your sails. There's nothing worse than sailing into a storm. If it's stormy out, drop your sails, take a break, wait for the sun to come out. If you got to take a day off, if you got to take a week off, I'm taking next week off. I just need a break. I'll still be doing the show next week. But you got to reframe everything. You're doing what you're doing because that's the way you learn to operate. I got a post from somebody today. They said, they go, I'm very sensitive. How do I deal with the fact that I'm so sensitive? Because I pick up things from other people. And my answer was, and I got tons of comments, my answer was, only use that gift when it's appropriate. And meaning that, we need to start thinking a certain way. Now, you're going to probably have to learn to do it. You might need somebody to mentor you and teach you, like me or somebody else, but that's what you got to do. People ask me for advice all the time. And I tell them, like, they go, Doug, can you help me? I go, sure, I'll help you. And I give them advice. I go, does that make sense? They go, yeah, that really makes sense. And they don't freaking follow it. Off they go, and nothing changes, So you gotta accept the idea, and then you gotta consent, and then you gotta take some action. I got a couple tips for you at the end here. I think I'll help you.
Cool. This is a good one. I don't have enough experience, or I don't know enough about that. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, that's learned too. Just Matt or Cindy, whoever's asking the question, I want you to just get your pen out after the show, and don't put it off. most people are procrastinators. They put things, I'll do it tomorrow, and then you don't do it. Do it right away at the show. You might want to both sit down together and go, what did our parents tell us that would cause us to think that? You inherited that idea. In Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter here, it's called Specialized Knowledge. Napoleon Hill talks about power. And if you want to earn a fortune, you do it through the accumulation of power. And power is intelligently directed and highly organized specialized knowledge. And there's a whole chapter on specialized knowledge. Henry Ford, he talks about Henry Ford. He was friends with Ford, and Ford had 50 people around him. Ford knew nothing about the building of cars or marketing cars, but he knew that he didn't need to know. He had no education, nothing, but he had a strong desire, and he just surrounded himself with people that had all the knowledge that he needed. If you have Think and Grow Rich, read the chapter in Specialized Knowledge where he talks about that. You don't need to know how to do it. Now, we were taught when we were young, if you got an idea, well, you better research that, Matt. You better go get some advice. Why don't you go ask some people for their opinion? And so we learned to do that. You also were taught not to make decisions, or you weren't taught how to make decisions. You were actually taught to procrastinate. And so what procrastination does is causes you to think. And the more you think, it creates doubt. And so this would be one of the things that you would say. You don't need to know how to do anything. There's people out there, like I don't know how to do what Tyson's doing. I'm not running the show. He's running the show. But I used to procrastinate because I didn't know how. I thought I had to know how. You don't have to know how. The how will all show up. Now, that might make sense to you. Again, it's back to understanding. That might make sense to you, but you really, truly got to believe it. And I didn't believe it at first. It made sense, Bob, going, Doug, don't worry about the how. Yeah, right, Bob. Yeah, don't worry about the how. And I'd think about the how. And I wouldn't tell him that, but he knew that's what I was doing. I don't worry about the how so much anymore. Sometimes I get stuck. My old ways come back up. But if you understand how the how actually shows up, and we teach you that, it's in Think and Grow Rich. Very few people discover it, but it's in there. In fact, it's mentioned in pretty much every chapter how the how actually shows up. You don't need to know how. So just perish that thought. Now that's, again, you got to accept that idea, and then you got to consent. Yeah, you know what? Screw that. I don't need to know the how. So that's what I did. Go, nope, I don't need to know how. I don't have to know the how. I don't need to know how. I don't have to. The how will show up. The how will show up. The how will show up. And I discovered my mind's like a GPS, and it gives me directions as I go forward. And I don't have to worry about what the next turn is. The GPS will call it the next turn when I get there. That's how your mind works, and that's how the how shows up. One of the ways how the how shows up.
When I was taking Magic in Your Mind, when I was doing with you, Doug,
Yeah.
I remember one of the things Bob was talking about is it's not how, it's who. And I remember him saying, like, it's not how, it's who. It's how, it's not how, it's who. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so Tyson did a 6-week program called Magic in Your Mind. It's very, very powerful. It's very easy and consumable to go through.
Mhm.
And I think you went it through several times. And Mare, who we had the show, she's been through it a bunch of times. So yeah, just basically it explains these 6 mental faculties, these 6 mental muscles, these tools. And one of them, of course, is imagination. And so you have this magic in your mind, but you have to learn how to, it's not really magic, but it works like magic.
Definitely feels like magic when you know it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? Okay. So there's also, so I think this one is probably a little bit more explanation in a sense, but I think this is something you're saying in your head. Everything I make gets taken away from me, or I'm going to be broke forever. Either one of those two.
Yeah, you know what? I'd say he's caught up in drama. I'm not saying, I'm sure if, Michael, this is what you've been saying to yourself, it's because things have been taken away from you. And you obviously, if you're saying I'm going to be broke forever, it's probably because you are broke and you haven't figured out how to change that. And so one of the problems that I discovered that I was doing to myself, this took 2016, Christmas 2017, I think. I was studying how this machine works and self-image and how it works. And what I discovered, it finally hit me in the head hard enough that I decided to change the way I was going to do things, is I kept talking about what was happening to me. Now, right now, it's now 8:47. If you talk about something that happened at 8:46 or 8:45 or 10 a.m. this morning, you're talking about the past. Don't talk about the past. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. You can't change it. It can't serve you. Nothing. And even if if Michael put that post up, I don't know, say 3 minutes ago, right? You're still stuck in the past. You're talking about your current situation. If you keep talking about your current situation, you stay that way. And so you've just got yourself conditioned to focus on that everything gets taken away from you and you're going to be broke forever. And so, again, it's this, I was going to consider reading this chapter, but this is a pretty deep chapter. Let me see if I can pick out one thing. Well, I'm going to throw this out there. This is, you will no longer accept the dominance of outside conditions or circumstances. Okay, you gotta go, you know what? I will no longer accept the dominance of outside conditions or circumstances. You will not accept life on the basis of the world without. In other words, you don't look without, you look within. Having achieved control of the movements of your attention, so your attention isn't being controlled by what's going on out there, like you're broke and things are being taken away from you. Okay. Having control of the movements of your attention and having discovered the mystery hid from the ages, that Christ in you is your imagination, you will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. What does he mean by that? You will assert the supremacy of imagination. So if you can train yourself to spend time within and exercising subjective control. So you just go within, you don't get distracted without, just stay within, and you just use your imagination to hold the picture of what it is that you want and who you want to be, as if you already are that person. You become how you have supremacy of imagination, and it'll put all things into subjection to it, meaning your world will be subject to your imagination. Right now, your world is subject to your attention on the outside. And that's what you got to train yourself to do. And if you can do that, man, oh man, things will change so friggin' fast, it will shock you. Now, again, we listen to these things, we read these books, and we understand it. Like, Tyson, could you feed back that last paragraph and explain to somebody on the show?
It feedback what you just said?
Yeah, would you be able to read that and explain that to people where they would understand it?
Like, I would say, you become prisoner to the random things that come towards you, right?
Yes.
Is that kind of like the
what I'm getting at is, like, you understand it right now, okay? Because you just heard it, you probably feed it back a little bit. But tomorrow morning, if I said, "Hey, Tyson, explain subjective control to me," you'd have a hard time explaining it to a 10-year-old.
Yeah, without reading it over again and trying to think it through.
Yeah, and so when you understand it at an emotional level, then you can explain it to somebody else where they understand it at an emotional level, and that's where we got to get ourselves to. Now that might sound really complicated, but it's not. It's really simple. Like Newton sat under a tree and he figured that out. Okay. It's not complicated, but you think it's complicated because of the way you were brought up and the way that you were educated and the things that you believe about how this works and how the world works and why you're getting the results that you're getting that you don't want. You think this is the way it is. Like I said earlier, people are locked into the idea, they're filled with doubt, and they're defensive about their own lack of achievement. We just become doubtful. We're just a skeptical bunch of people. Like we should operate like the chipmunks operate. I was talking to somebody earlier. So out my backyard, I got chipmunks jumping around. I got bunny rabbits. I have a couple fox that come through, wild turkeys. And I was watching or teaching a lesson rather on working with the law. And I called Bob up. I said, in the book, Working with the Law, he talks about instinct in animals. He said, the lion doesn't thrash in the reeds waiting for its prey, but the cat sits patiently outside the mouse hole, the mouse, whatever the hell they call it. And so animals operate off of instinct. And I was talking to Bob about that. I go, that's like our intuition. He goes, yeah. He said, your intuition is like instinct in animals. Baby birds are born in the spring and they just know to fly south in the winter. They just know. Well, we have intuition too. He said, but we got screwed with a gift because we've been gifted with an intellect, which is a gift, but it screws with your intuition. And so we really got to get these simple little concepts down and really train ourselves to take control of our thinking and not let the outside control us.
Love that, Doug.
One more.
Yes. So just to get to a question, I think this is an amazing question because I know you were so passionate about ditching self-help and that idea. Mm-hmm. So Adam is asking, hey, Doug, sounds like you wouldn't advise trying to figure out myself out. The why I am the why I am the way I am. What about healing from wounds and the resulting thinking and emotional patterns? What do you think about that? Well,
I know Adam. He might not like my answer, but I like him. I care about him. He's a beautiful guy. Now, I don't know if Adam, if that's what you're thinking and feeling, or if it's just, a kind of a question that's come to your mind. But I used to think that way. I used to think, what about all the wounds? I mean, I was physically abused. I was emotionally abused. I was given up for adoption as a baby. I found my birth mom. She rejected me. I failed at every relationship I ever had. Sexually abused. And I was locked into all this emotion around my wounds. And I used that for a long time to excuse away my behavior and my own lack of achievement. And I finally realized that wasn't helping me at all. And I made my mind up one day. I go, I'm done. I'm done doing that. I don't need to heal from my wounds. What I need to do is I need to let go of the thinking I have associated to my wounds. A great book, Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul. He said in the book, he was talking about how humans, we have this built-in fight or flight. He said, we don't have to worry about that in today's society, in most parts of the world. You don't have to worry about walking out of your house and, protecting yourself. Not too long ago in history you did, but you don't have to do it anymore. He said, what we've done is as a race, we've transferred it to our emotions. So you don't have to worry about fight or flight. You have to protect your emotions. And so we've transitioned, an attitude and mindset. People didn't worry about their emotions a couple hundred years ago. They had them, but they weren't dealing with the crap we're dealing with. And so it's a decision. I don't think you have to figure yourself out. You can if you want. I tried to do that. I learned a lot about myself, but man, I wasted a lot of time. I just figured what I've learned for Bob was let it go and just decide who you want to be. I was on a call today. He said, all you got to do is, and this is part of my closing remarks here, all you got to do is you have to see yourself as the way you want to be seen. And so he quoted a quote he gave me a long time ago. He goes, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. And so who do I want you to think I am? And you just decide that. And then the same way your self-image was formed, that you inherited, and then you took it over and you make shit up like this. And not that you're making it up. I mean, it's real for Adam, obviously. But you're locked into that. I guess I would say, is your way working? If it's not, then why don't you try the polar opposite? Bob said today on a call, I'll share this with you another time, but he said, a question you should ask yourself every day, what is a habit that I need to change? What's the polar opposite of a habit I have that I need to change? What's the polar opposite of this? Right? I don't need to figure myself out. I'm good just the way that I am. And I don't need to heal from my results or anything like that because I'm just good the way that I am. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm just going to be myself. I was talking to a pastor the other day. He goes, 3 rules I have. Know yourself, like yourself, and be yourself. And knowing yourself just comes by just paying attention. Just pay attention. Notice what you're noticing. That's what I would say. All right. Tyson, I got to go fast here.
Okay.
So I want to leave people with a few things.
Awesome.
All right. I want you to do a 7-day test. Between now and next week show, I want you to do a 7-day test. You should do a 30-day test, but let's start really small. Let's just start with 7 days. Okay. Number 1, decide right now you're going to talk less. Just shut up. Stop talking. You talk way too much. You don't need to talk. You don't need to chime in on the conversation. You don't have to weigh in with your opinion. It's very tempting. I saw a friend on social media. He put up a post. I was so tempted to put a comment. I go, no, shut up, Doug. You don't need to say anything. So just decide right now, I'm going to talk less, and then train yourself. And you have to do this inside. No, shut up. Okay. Number 2, you're not allowed to talk about anything in the past or that's happened in the past. Okay. You can't talk about the past. Not even an hour ago. Nope. I'm not talking about the past. If somebody wants to talk about the past, well, then you move to the 3rd step. You're not going to listen to anyone or anything. You can hear them and you can nod and you can, Bob uses it. We all say it. That's interesting. So you're hearing them and you just go, that's interesting. So I say a lot, I go, that's interesting. And number 4, you're going to stop it. You're going to stop talking the way you're talking to yourself. And so you got to go, stop it. Watch that, Google that, go onto YouTube, stop it. Bob Newhart, stop it. So basically, shut up. Don't go there. Okay? It means we're not going to talk about anything in the past or what's already happened. Don't go there. Okay? Shut up. Don't go there. Question everything. Great author Don Miguel Ruiz wrote the book, The 4 Agreements. The 5th agreement, the book called The 5th Agreement, was be skeptical. Question everything. I'm not saying question yourself, doubt yourself, but just don't accept what people are saying. Stop listening. Okay? Stop listening and just question everything. Don't accept it. So either if you do hear it, don't accept it. Don't listen. And number 4, stop it. Stop it. S-T-O-P, new word, I-T. Stop it. That's what Bob Newhart said in the video. You're going to love it. That's it, Tyson.
Awesome. So I'm just just so that it's in the chat, I'm going to post that stop it video from Bob Newhart, just so that people can go to it after the show is done.
Yeah, cool.
I did find it.
Good.
But great. Those are good. I'm going to bring on Erin as well so she can say hi. Cool. Oh,
Aaron,
she-
what do you think of that show?
It was really good. It's exhausting listening to you in a good way. And see, I gotta shut up. In a good way. I have lots to think about.
No. Don't do that.
Not think,
Somebody said
whatever.
that.
Just shut up and listen is my point. Not think.
Yeah, no, but
Using the wrong words already.
Somebody said that. They go, let me think about it. I go, no, don't think about it.
Right. Right. You're right.
I find most of the time when I use my intuition, it's a better path.
Yeah.
When it comes a lot to decisions. So this
Well,
is
your intuition's linked to your heart.
Mhm.
You know?
and to your subconscious knowledge,
Well, that's
essentially.
your
Right?
heart. Your heart is your subconscious. That's what I mean. The Greeks called it your heart or your subconscious mind, your heart of hearts. That's your heart, not the physical pumping heart. Your heart. That's your subconscious. That's where your intuition comes from. That's where
Yeah.
you pick up stuff. Well, thanks for doing the show again. Always fun.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah. And thank you for everyone that came out tonight.
Thanks for
Yeah.
being here. Share
Yeah.
the show.
Hashtag Ask Doug Dane
That's
to be
right.
on it as well, right?
You can win an hour and hang out with me, and I'll get you to stop it.
Cool. And if anyone want to watch the replay, it's gonna be on Doug's Facebook page, which is Doug Dane Official, but also his Facebook profile, but also his YouTube channel. So if
Just
you guys
Doug
want to
Dane.
go back, yeah, Doug Dane, yeah,
Just Google Doug, you know.
just Google Doug and
The
you'll
one
find.
and only Doug Day.
All right, we got to go.
Yes. Okay, guys.
Bye,
Um,
everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night.